Hey, what's up everybody? It's TJ with the Blessed to Build Foundation, and today's video is sponsored by Sanctified Homes and Construction. We are talking about energy efficient windows. What does that mean? What does it look like? What does it mean when you're walking in the store at Menards, Home Depot, maybe you have Lowe's by you, and you see energy efficient windows? Well, first of all, windows are rated for different parts of the country. I have literally seen windows in Wisconsin, lumber supply places that say they're energy efficient windows. Yeah, they are for Texas, right? Texas doesn't get below freezing here, like we do here, I should say. And that's vice versa. So they need different ratings for their windows than we need to meet Energy Star standards, let's say. When you're thinking about your windows though, a lot of people talk about the R value in the window. So usually when you're looking at the window, they might not have the R on it, but they have a U factor. So you have to take that U factor and convert it to an R value. Most windows you're going to see when you walk in Home Depot, Lowe's, most of the supply house lumber yards are selling you an R. Their standard is to sell you an R3 to an R3.5 window. Now, talking about the types of windows, right? So going from least efficient to the most efficient window, you're going to have a slider, so they slide by one another. Then you'll have a single hung and a double hung window. And then a casement window is more efficient because it's going to swing out like this, come back in, and then when you latch it shut, it actually pulls tight that whole window. Sliders, you don't get that. The double hungs, you don't get that. So you don't get that seal. Now, the most efficient window right now is, they're called European style tilt turn windows. So you can actually open it all the way up so it will swing all the way open. You can close it. There's actually a little latch on it that sucks it tight in multiple spots. Then if you turn the handle the other way, you actually can tilt it. So if this is the window, right, here's the pane, I'm turning it. It tilts up like this and will allow air from the outside to come up and in if you're looking for a breeze in your house. So those are the most efficient windows, right? When we're talking about the air sealing part. The next part is going to be, is it single pane, double pane? Most of the European style tilt turn windows are actually triple pane, and you're going to see an R value on them of more in the 7+ range. Now we can get some casement windows and some double hung that are, they'll say you can get that high. I don't think you can get the air sealing quite tight enough, but you can get in the 5, 5.5, 6 range. So you'll have a much more comfortable environment, because what happens is when you're talking about your windows, what you're feeling is, if I'm inside and it's really, we have it let's say it's 72 in your house in the winter and it's 32 outside. That draft you're feeling is the cold air is actually sucking the heat out of your house, okay? Because the hot wants to go to the cold and it's sucking it out, and you're feeling that draft move across your skin. So if you put your hand up by a window, right, when it's cold out, that's what it actually is. And it's pulling the heat even from your body, right, to that cold. So that's why you feel a draft in the winter if you have leaky windows or windows that are single pane, right, like if you're in an old house. So you have to think about the energy efficiency when you're talking about people go, I want to build a greenhouse. Well, you can't just go and buy, say, oh, these are energy efficient windows, right? Because first look at where they're energy efficient for. Is it for where you're living? And depending on what part of the country you're in, it makes a difference what type of window you're going to pick, right? And if you're trying to build a more passive house, right? Like a passive house, we almost have to do the European tilt turn with triple pane because of the standards you have to be at for insulation and all kinds of stuff like that. But you can still do a double hung or a casement window that has a better insulating value than, the standard R3, let's say if you're going to Home Depot or Menards or some of the lumber yards. Now, does that cost more? Yes. Are you going to see a significant savings in your energy bills? Of course. But you can't just buy an energy efficient window, right? Like if I put in a European tilt turn window and I didn't do anything for air sealing, I didn't insulate it properly, I didn't use backer rod or caulking to make sure there was no air leakage, there's no point in spending that money, right? So you need to make sure that your builder understands how a window assembly goes together. They're not just doing it the way it was taught to them when they were 15 years old or 20 years old or whenever they learned it. because if you don't put the product in right and install it correctly, it's irrelevant to go spend that extra money. And that's with any product that you're going to put in your house. So whether we're talking about windows or doors, right? You have to make sure that the air sealing is done properly, or who cares if you spend the money on that energy efficient window. So anyway, guys, this was just intent to be helpful and talk a little bit about what Energy Star or energy efficient windows are so that you can have a more durable, healthy, safer home, especially when you're talking about right now. In our area, they're talking about the wildfires from Canada and us having poor outdoor air quality. Well, we don't want to let that air into our house, and neither do you if you're going to spend all this money to build a brand new home. So anyway, give us a like, share, follow us on YouTube. There'll be a link somewhere around this video. In the meantime, don't forget to raise your standard. We'll talk to you guys soon.